What is going on, everybody? We are back. Another awesome weekend. It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with the Shop Podcast. We got the best panel, best gaming show on the weekend. So if you guys come mess with us, come holler at us, come hang out with us in the chat, man. We appreciate the continued support. Hit the like button, follow us on Twitter. Make sure you guys retweet that link. All that information is down in the description below. We're not going to waste too much time because it's been a big week. We got a brand new first-time guest. You know I love getting brand new guests on here to get their opinion. This community has consistently been growing with the help of you guys as well. So let me give some quick shout-outs in the chat. Shout out to Sean Su, Mod of the Year, Nix. What's up, panel? Hanging out in the chat as well. But appreciate you guys. Once again, hit the like button, support as well if you guys want to do that. Let's go ahead and just dive into it, man. Let's get right into our first-time guest, man. So this is a gentleman who I do greatly support, love his individual work as well as his work with Everborn on the Gaming Circle podcast. He do a lot of great things in the community, man. First time on the show, not first time here, though. If you guys have been, here multiple times, you might see him down in the chat. But Mr. K. Asante, bro, how you doing? Appreciate you hanging out with us this weekend, man. Let everybody know what you got cooking up.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for the invite. Like you say, I'm usually in the chat, so for me, this is a real treat, a real kick. I appreciate you guys inviting me to come here, talk some games, man. It's been quite the weekend. We've been having a lot of fun, so I'm ready to talk about it. Let's get into it.
All right, appreciate you, brother. Once again, all his information down in the description below. I greatly appreciate you guys. You guys are always awesome and amazing. Thank you guys so much. Every single week, you guys bring it. So thank you guys. You're awesome. Let's go ahead and just dive into my compatriots here. What's up, Centurion? How you doing, brother? What's going on with you this week?
I'm doing good, man. It is Saturday night. I'm sitting here with my second fam, getting ready to talk about games, Halo, and everything in between. It is some exciting times we should all be talking about. Let's do this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. Appreciate you being here, man. Love you every week. Let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. How you been, bro? Got the retirement kicking off. Plenty of time to play games.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of games to play out there, too. So, yeah, I need all the extra time I can. But, man, just a wonderful week of gaming, wonderful time to be here. Glad to have K. Asante join us tonight. And so let's just get right into these topics after Pong. You're up next, man.
And last but not least, Pong, man. Pong Harvey, how you been this week, brother?
Great, man. Been great. Month end at work. Always a busy time, but you know what? Xbox Gamepass come through again, drop a bunch of new games that, of course, you know what? It was crazy. I'm not going to take up a lot of time, but, this was cool. And I'm sure, I don't know if it's the first time I heard it or not, but, man, I was watching the Xbox 2. Shout out to Jez and Rand. A great podcast. But there's actually a name for me as a gamer. Microsoft actually has a name as somebody who tries and plays a ton of stuff, doesn't finish a whole lot of games. I'm called a grazer. I love that. I am a grazer.
That makes sense.
So me too. Yeah. I'm a grazer. That's awesome. Yeah. That's good to know.
Jez says internally they officially have that as a name for the type of player I am. So hey, you know what? I always kind of feel alone because I know, most people like to try to finish all their games and do all that kind of stuff. Me, I'm the opposite. I try as many games, as possible. Yep. I'm just happy to know that I'm not alone, and actually that there's enough of us that actually have a
there's even a category for us.
That is correct.
Absolutely. I didn't even know that.
So I am great. I am Pong Soul the Grazer. So there we go. I have an official title.
Shout out,
that's
man.
awesome, man.
Clip that chat for sure, man. We need to see that on Twitter for sure. The Grazer. You know what the funny thing is, Pong? You wouldn't believe it. I feel like most people are grazers. If we took a poll, I feel like you get more grazers than non-grazers.
Yeah, maybe that's true. But you know what? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, everybody's getting something. This week was absolutely insane. Tons of stuff. TGS, all this goodness coming out, acquisitions, all this crazy talk, and Halo, big team battle. We were talking in the background. We're not going to talk about it really tonight, but my God, again, casual Halo fan. You guys know that. You've been watching the show for long enough. I say it every time we talk about Halo because I think it's important that my perspective is not coming from a super fan by any stretch of the imagination. But you know what? This big team battle is exactly what I was looking for. I've had the best time. We had a group of 12 people today, a full house. And my God, I haven't had that much fun in a long time in a game. And this is one map with 3 different modes, and that's it. And that to me, that shows what they've got. They've got something special on their hands. So I hope everybody out there is taking the opportunity to try it out. Even if you're not a super fan, try it out. This game is going to be, if this is indicative of what we get in December in the total package, they've got something special over there at 343. Very, very special. And I'm so happy to see it, and so happy that the fans are blowing up Twitter with all of its glory, because it deserves it right now.
Absolutely. And we're going to get into it. So that's a perfect segue, chat. We starting off with Halo. So we talking about the poll of the week. So shout out to everybody watching live. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you retweet that link. Let everybody know we're live. We're doing a damn thing. So appreciate you guys watching, man. So poll of the week this week. You know, to be honest with you, I feel like we're going to be talking Halo right up until the day it comes out. I feel like every week I'm going to find an excuse to fit Halo into the topics, like subconsciously. Until the game actually drops. So a poll of the week this week was Halo related. So it was just a real basic question. And I'm actually extremely surprised at the answer, because I did not expect this, K. Asante. So I said Halo Infinite will have the best multiplayer of any Halo game. Got over 900 votes. So that's a pretty good sample size. Yeah. 88% said yes. I said, what is going on? Like,
that is surprising.
That is extremely surprising. I thought I was going to get destroyed. I'm like, this is stupid. This is a stupid poll. This poll makes no sense. It's going to get destroyed. Everybody's going to say, are you crazy? Bro, I mean, like I said, that's a small, very below 1% portion of the gaming community, but that is 88%, Asante? I mean, are you on that?
That is surprising. No, that is surprising. I'm on that side, but that is surprising because I'm usually the defender of 343, you know. They get the slander on a daily basis, you know, and not even after I've played a few of these flights and gotten my confidence level up. I'm one of the few that has liked the previous outings of 343. Some haven't liked as many of them. Yeah. I like all the OG Halos. Just so we know, I have a huge love for Halo. I read the books, all that. But I can see that, okay, they're taking it in a different direction, and I welcome that. People have pushed back on that like quite a lot. And I've kind of felt bad for them, because it always seems like they are never allowed to make their own vision. They're always chasing the ghost of Bungie, and even Bungie's chasing the ghost of Bungie at this point. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always like cutting them some slack, because they go far in the technical, awesome graphics department, and you go, the story wasn't nothing. Then they go far in the story department, and you go, did you see the fact that there's all these pop-in? You know, they never can seem to win. And now with the flight that's
a lot
going
of that,
on
though,
and all
to be
that.
honest, Kasante, I'm gonna interrupt you here. Shout out to Blue and
Chat,
shout out to Ashtray. A lot of that self-inflicted. The Halo community,
I'll give you that.
It cannibalizes itself. There's not anybody who looks at the Halo community and says, well, why don't they just get along? You haven't been in the Halo community long enough, because
that's right.
That's one group of people, gamers, that will never be satisfied with any state Halo is currently in.
Sure.
So go ahead, bro. I want to make sure we put that out there, because a lot of people don't.
No, you're absolutely right.
A lot of that's like internal. No,
you're absolutely right, and even the diehard Halo stands say so. Shout out to One Bad Mother, who's an unapologetic Halo stand, and even he says that. You want to see some toxic communities? Come to the Halo community.
You thought Destiny
but
was
no,
bad.
Yeah, but this poll surprises me. But long story short, it gives me hope, you know, because that means 343 can one day get to a place where they can be the guys who made the good game, you know, the team that made the good game, rather than having that narrative always following them. If even this small sample size can have some hope and say, hey, they're going to make a great multiplayer, that bodes well.
And I always like to wrap this in a blanket of context. You know how we like to like to make sure the points of views are, you know, where they need to be, right, Asante? Mm-hmm. So what I want to say, I want to bring something up to you before we get to someone else here quickly.
Sure.
People don't really understand how new of an experience this Halo is supposed to be. So I think a lot of time, and this is just kind of going back to what we were talking about, is this is a completely different Halo that we've ever experienced. They have a 10-year plan for this Halo. Halo's never had DLC, let alone a 10-year plan. So I don't know what people's expectations are regarding like what this Halo is supposed to look like, because we never seen one. We never seen this Halo. Let it do what it's supposed to do. And I just want to kind of boomerang that point over to you about like, how do you feel? And we kind of piggyback off, you know, just the battling points just between, you know, internally in the community and then the outside pressure of just being Halo. Because you could listen, I know Halo hasn't won any Game of the Year awards in probably a decade. I think Halo 2 only Halo to win one, crazy enough. It's still Halo.
Yep,
And
for sure.
It's still it's in my opinion, it's a Mount Rushmore franchise. So just where you at on you know, that specific take?
No, I agree with you. I really do. I think that it is now time, and I was talking to a bunch of community members about it. It is now time to allow 343 to take a bold stance. You know, let them establish their vision. Give them some room to show you something. You know, because it seems like for a long time now they've been chasing that ghost, right? They've been, oh, we go a little left. You like that? No, you're running too fast. Okay, we'll take the running away. Is that good? No, we don't like. You know what I mean? There's always something. Then there's Halo 4. You know, I have enjoyed all of them, but I do see that the diehards, you know, have their way, and of course, you know, this studio was put together to appease that, you know, which makes me feel bad for them, because I think if those shackles were ever removed, they could do something magical. It's just they're always chasing that ghost. So at this point, like you're saying, you know, it's a new Halo, completely new business model, completely different plan. It seems to me a little bit that they're destiny-fying Halo a little, you know. I see that with the weird AI bots, which are cool.
If we're being honest, honest, there's a little bit of destiny there. If we,
you know,
a pinch,
a little pinch, and I'm there for it, man. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing where they go. I don't care. Be unabashed. You know, give us a hub world. Give us half campaign, half multiplayer, PvE style. I'm there for it. You know what I mean? Like, let them spread their wings a little bit, because they can prove themselves. They have proven themselves to me anyway. They haven't been able, like, everyone puts that idea that they haven't been able to put together the perfect package. So either you have the perfect multiplayer and not so good a story, or the perfect story and not so good multiplayer. They've been able to at least show you that they can do that, right? And this is so important to them, that even though this thing was launching with the next gen big hype console, they pushed it back just to show you how important it is that they get this right. So I'm cutting them some slack. You know, I think that they are ready to surprise us, and I'm confident that we'll be, you know, come December. December's my birthday, so come December, presents will be good.
I'm a Sag. I don't know if you fall where you fall at, but
December 25th, actually. So
you
call me Black Jesus.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I'm the 20th, but appreciate you, man. No. I 100% agree with those takes, Asante. It's Halo. It falls in this weird space, and I think this is the first time I haven't felt this type of energy around Halo probably since 3. Maybe Reach. Reach.
Yep.
Reach was pretty big too. I don't think Reach was quite Halo 3. I think Halo 2 and 3 were probably peak Halo, if we're being honest. Reach was really big too, but I haven't felt the energy around the community in a long time. And when this BTB dropped, it feels like this is the only thing everybody's playing currently, at least in my space. So, and that's a very good thing. The last we play a lot of different games, so there's very few times one game dominates like my friend list, and this is it's 20 25 people on, you know, this entire weekend, you know, playing Halo at any given time. So all right, let's go throw this over to you. Pong, get your opinion on you know, greatest. I put this out there in the ether thinking I was gonna get this back in a bad way, and it did not go the way I thought.
It shouldn't.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree. Absolutely. Okay. You just heard what I said in my opening. So again, I've enjoyed all the Halos for what they are. Again, as a casual fan, I've never been huge multiplayer because again, I've had a lot, you know, decades of lone wolfing, you know, like Kay Asante. I was raising families, you know, doing stuff like that. So, you know, I didn't have any real close friends that were hardcore gamers like me. And so, you know, I was a lone wolf. So playing with randos all the time just isn't the best experience, especially in Halo where it gets extremely sweaty. So it helps to have good people around you and keep it flowing and all that good stuff. But be that as may, from what I played out of this, absolutely. There is no doubt in my mind. Again, arena, that kind of stuff, the smaller levels I can take or leave. But for me, big team battles where it's at, again, being a huge Battlefield guy, of course, that's going to be my preferred way to play multiplayer on a Halo, because the craziness, the chaos that can occur, like I was talking about, the crazy moves that you can pull off, that sandbox feel really just opens up. And I think that they have absolutely 100% nailed it with this. Again, this is indicative of what we're going to get. Remember, in December, we're going to get 23 maps to start.
Yeah,
that's a ridiculous
insane,
amount. But every single one
Has
of
Halo
these
ever
maps,
had that many maps?
no, at launch, no.
I don't think
Not
never.
at launch.
Not
No.
at launch ever.
No,
That's
not at launch.
probably double. Not, I don't want to say double, but that's
that's huge.
significantly,
That's huge,
yeah.
especially where there's no Forge out the gate. Obviously,
Yeah,
that
true.
that the community
takes
usually
away
creates a
some.
lot. With this, I'm even more excited about Forge. Let me tell you,
You
what
know,
people
me
are going to
too,
come up
Paul,
with.
for
Forge is gonna
sure,
be
for
insane.
sure.
Oh my
People,
god!
people, and I
Yes.
think people really need to put people. You guys don't understand like what Forge is like. If Forge is gonna be insane, like
insane, especially with all the new toys they gave us. It's going to be crazy what people come up with, man. So yeah, no, I definitely think this definitely could go down in history as the best multiplayer. And I've said it a lot of times. I think that if they nail the campaign, even if it's different from what we've come to expect from a Halo campaign, with a open world, whatever you want to call it, I think if they nail that, you're going to have a game that is put up there with 3. I mean, as one of the best all-time Halos, and maybe at the end of the day, just because gamers have short-term memories, it might be considered the best at the end of the day.
I can see that happening.
I could really see that happening here. So happy for 343 to step out. I know there's hardcore fans like Others Inc. in the chat who, been preaching nonstop, and they have their perspective that, 343 has obviously gotten the short end of the stick, and that people are crazy, and Halo's always been great. Shout out to Others Inc., man. He's always around. And when Halo topics comes up, he's a super fan. So there's no doubt about it. Props to him. And I get that feeling as well. But I just think for the rest of for the average Halo person, I think gamer who's had Halo in their life, whether it's a lot or whether just a little bit, I really do think this one could eclipse 3 and actually wind up being considered the best, and 343 deserves it. Again, yeah, they had to take a lot of time. Yeah, they've had their ups and downs. They've had their bumps in the road. They had their delays, all of that. But at the end of the day, what matters is the game that you deliver. And if they deliver, if they even get into the conversation with 3, seriously, that is a monumental moment for them. If they even get into that conversation from where they came,
stays as is. It's already in the conversation with like the best Halo multiplayer.
Right, exactly. And I'm just talking about overall too, but just from the standpoint of where they came from, what they've gone through, the bumps and everything, taking their hits in 4 and 5 and all that kind of stuff. Look, that's huge, man. That is gigantic, and hats off to them and that entire team for what they've done. Again, we've had to wait a long time. I think that's actually helped this, because people have been craving Halo for so long. A new one, and I think that just the way that they've presented this now, taking this extra year, but during this extra year being very transparent, starting up kind of the hype machine again, letting us know what they're doing, and then going out here and putting these multiplayer flights out to the public, showing off just how far they've come, and what they're actually building, again, just has done wonders. And again, hats off to them for doing that.
Yeah, and the one thing we need to put in perspective, because like I said, we like to wrap everything in a blanket of context. So the one thing too is that they've done all of this in a COVID riddled atmosphere as well. A lot of devs are working in tumultuous times. We understand, they're not working in normal circumstances. So they've done all of this through all of that, and it's super impressive. And I think it's super understated, and we just got to give. And I want to keep going back to giving 343 credit, because they definitely deserve all the flowers they're getting right now. So they're definitely putting their stamp on the Halo franchise. Let's throw this over to you, Fuzz. Get your opinion. Shout out to Gerald as well in the chat. Shout out, thanks. Nix as well. Zinc. Shout out to you. But yeah, Fuzz, where you at, man? I put the statement out there, like I said, bro. Yeah. I expect more of a split vote, because I'm a Halo OG. I know a lot of people in the community are as well, but I didn't expect it. This was a landslide.
No, for me, I'm basically new to the franchise, so 5 was my entry into the series, and I enjoyed the campaign and enjoyed the multiplayer as far as more so the Forge, playing with my sons, as far as just random maps that they would make using vehicles and just basically playing tag in that regard. But these past few flights of just, man, it is so exciting to see what they've created now with having the grapple shot and a lot of the other features as far as the deflection and stuff like that. I actually have had fun. Yeah, it's in the academy or just against bots and things like that. I plan on jumping into the big team battle at some point this weekend, but I got another game that's kind of eating up my time in the background. But yeah, it's definitely an improvement over what I've seen in 5. And when it comes to like the overall game quality, the and it looks like they've even, I know people have been poking fun at like things like Craig and all that in the background, just picking on silly stuff like the fruit physics and all, which have even
Yeah.
been updated since the the first flight. They're really taking care and trying to appease the fans, but also give them, I guess, this updated vision that's you know interesting and fun to play and just a, a, a I don't know. It's I guess you could say an ode to the history of with it being 20 years of Halo. This is going to be their stamp on it, and this is going to be their probably most memorable release. And having this 10-year plan as far as what they have going, they're just going to continue to build on it. And I think people need to expect, not necessarily need to expect, but need to give this a try if they haven't already, especially considering this is probably the most open flight, and just let loose and see all the interesting things. Because like I said, I come from like Destiny and Division 2 and Division 1 and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and I have a gut feeling this is going to eat a lot of my free time like those other games have. Because yeah, it definitely sinks its hooks into you. And yeah, I would say, at least for my small comparison between what I've played it in 5, this is the best multiplayer I've played as far as Halo, and that's only comparing to one other one. But a lot of people say that 5 was probably their best multiplayer.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely give this one the nod.
All right. I want to throw something back to you real quick, Asante. Just about the experience with the flight and how impressive the flight's been so far, considering everything, all the changes. Like we said, that's part of the whole, change in the year and I guess like 14 months or so. And all the changes that they made. So how impressed have you just been with the flight? Like how smooth essentially the first flight got off to a little bit of a rough start as far as
Yeah, a
people
little
getting
rocky start in
in
the
a little
beginning.
bit,
Yep,
but
I remember
since
that.
then it's been like this thing, it's about as smooth as I've seen a flight go for a game this size in a while, or like beta.
Indeed. Yep, indeed. You're absolutely right. Now, I will say, to be fair, I did run into a weird little bug we did for a
Uh-huh.
short while, but that
I
was
know PC has had some issues as well, to be
yeah,
fair.
PC had a bit of performance issues. I've played wherever I could, so I've been lucky that I have a capable computer, and I also have the old school last gen Xboxes as well as this gen Xbox. So I've been like testing it out on the OG Xbox and the Series X, as well as the One X and the PC. And the only bit of a consternation, a little bit of issue I had there was we were playing at some point, and one thing led to another, and I think we were kicked out. And shout out to Gerald Mack in the chat; he was with us. Magilla Gorilla on Xbox, if you want to play, he was with us, and it kicks us out. And then you try to log back in again, and it thinks you probably logged out unfairly, like you quit early. So then
Oh, the
it bans
ban?
you, gives you like
Got it.
a short little ban. I think I posted some of the stuff on Twitter, like, why am I banned? Like, what user is banned? It was a weird thing. And then I started looking online and seeing in the forums that's what's going on. They instituted that early quitting penalty thing. But besides that, a few little bugs here and there. But the first flight, I had an instance where the camera separated from my body, and I could see myself floating everywhere while my body was sitting in one place. It was like that, This time, not a problem. I mean, we see people Spider-Maning in and out of levels,
Crazy.
and using the grappling hook to go grab pelicans from in the air. Like, it is just bananas, and it all works so well and so seamless, and they don't tell you can do all that stuff. It's just think about it, try something out, see what happens,
Bro, I never thought we'd get to that point in Halo where we see
Yeah.
Chief grappling around the map. Like,
exactly.
just
Yeah.
going- I
And
never
some
thought-
people are so prolific at it. Some people are just like it just showed up, and some people it's almost like they've been doing this all their lives, just like swinging through maps. It's absolutely fascinating. Another thing that I've noticed while I've been playing now is, as fun as it is with the Warthog, it's kind of too floaty a little bit, like to the point where you take jumps and it's like super high and awesome, but if you take a fast turn you can easily like tip the car over, which wasn't the way it used to be. So maybe a little bit of like bringing the physics down a bit, but I mean by and large you can tell that there's this little meta game going on of, hey, how crazy can you make this map? Can we set it up so you can drop a grenade in the right place and then pan the friggin' monium, like it is set up for really, really, really interesting moments. And so far it all works without a hitch. It doesn't matter what console you're playing it on, 60 frames, 120 frames. It's buttery smooth. It's great. I'm very impressed with it so far. Again, like I said before, all of this gives my confidence level, like it raises my confidence level when we're talking about the campaign, which they're still being very cagey about showing.
Yeah, well, and I think we'll see that soon. We'll hear something about that soon because they have to show it before we get the game. I mean, there's just knowing that, like, you guys have to at some point. It could be a day before you drop the game. It could be the 7th, but at some point you got to show us that campaign.
You got to show it to us. That's right.
You got to
just to add on to what Kayasante said real quick. Just to look at this game the way it stands right now, if they drop this today, let's say they just said, screw it, we're releasing multiplayer today, just to be able to say this game already performs probably better than 95% of the multiplayer games that drop fully complete says a ton, right? That right there, like you could put this up against anything besides the little minor tweaks here and there and the little, some of the stuff that Kayasante was bringing up. Like this game performs so flawlessly, even with the big team and all the vehicles on and all the new toys, the grappling hook, the repulsor shield, everything. That's a testament right there that they are at this point already, that they could release it today and it literally would be better than 95% of the multiplayers out there, maybe almost every single one. That's crazy to me. That's pretty good.
No, I agree. It's amazing, and like I said, I can't praise 343 enough, and I just keep going back to that every time I look at it, see the clips. I watch my son play. Like I said, I'm going to dive in after the show tonight. By the way, so hit me up on Xbox Live if you want to do that. But just it's extremely impressive, and it's the engine. Like I said, it's so flexible. Like that thing works on a 1S flawlessly, just about pretty much flawlessly, all the way up to the brand new console or rig. But yeah, let's go ahead and throw this over to Centurion to make sure we don't want to forget here. Just get your opinion. Have you played the flight, Centurion, and just where you at with this Halo, man, as far as it being possibly the greatest Halo multiplayer all time?
Well, I played last weekend. I've worked all day today. I was chatting with you earlier on what I've had going on. So I have not had a chance to play tonight, but if you are on, I will definitely join you. Awesome. I mean, so to describe it, I absolutely hate Gears multiplayer. But when I got into Halo,
I don't hate it.
I'm not a wall bouncer and a shotgunner. I am a very aggressive player. I like being up in your grill, overwhelming you, dropping your shields, and then cracking you in the face and walking away from the situation.
I was just going to say that's Gears.
You're describing a Gears player.
I don't like the wall bouncing thing, though. Bouncing thing.
Oh, that's so overblown. That's so overblown, Centurion.
It's all shotguns. I'm a battle rifle guy. I love the rifles and stuff in Halo.
But that's not up in the face. Come on.
No, I meant doing some headshots, just charging at somebody as you're shooting them in the face and they're trying to back up.
I
got you. Get caught up on the terrain and they try to look around and all of a sudden you're just meleeing them to the ground and you're just moving on to the next guy. I just love that run and gun mentality of Halo, and I have the vibes from Halo 3 back in the day running through my blood. I've got my friends who actually gave up on Halo after Halo 3, all of a sudden turning their eye back towards Halo. I mean, they're just like, I'm hearing a lot of good stuff about Halo. What's going on? Well, while you guys have been gone for 2 games, all of a sudden 343 is like freaking really pulling out all the stops. And like, let's talk about 343 for a second. We're talking, I think they really did a good job with Halo 4. They made Master Chief look absolutely amazing. I mean,
that was the best looking
the
game
detail
on 360,
that they put on him. What'd you say?
It's the best looking game on 360.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. I mean, like, it was a really good looking, really
it
good
holds
looking
up today.
Oh, dude,
yeah.
it's insane. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, like, but let's also look at the the monumental task of what 343 has had going on. For starters, we're talking about a studio that actually survived Donnie D. You know, because they have been around since the Donnie D era. So he walked through those halls. And I'm just saying that the monumental task they have in front of them is like, hey, we want to basically totally rearrange the Halo franchise. We want to have free-to-play multiplayer. We also want it to work around this many game consoles all the way back to the Xbox One OG. Oh, and by the way, PS, we also want you to make a new game engine while you do it. I mean, like, it's a very large monumental task. Like, can you name how many game developers just like, we're gonna go make a game engine? Not very many. I mean, so 343, in my opinion, has definitely stepped it up, pulling out all the stops. I'm excited for them. I really hope they blow everybody away and they break down all the stigmas that have always surrounded 343. And I am really looking forward to what they are going to provide to us in Halo Infinite, and all the memories and experiences we're going to have with our friends playing the multiplayer and the eventual campaign co-op. But dude, there is no reason why you should not be checking out Halo right now, because it's fun. They have a very good tight system when it comes to controls. Yeah, there's little tweaks here and there. I understand when Asante's over here talking about the floatiness of the Warthog. When me and Invader played, oh my god, dude, I mean, if you almost wanted to be the guy driving the Warthog, because at every time you turned around, the person on the gun or the driving was putting it into a tree, a rock, something else in the terrain.
That's Halo though. That's normal.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely Halo at its best. And I mean, you're right, the grapple shot running everywhere, the repulsor, the big one for me is the overshield. I love that overshield because it is just when you see somebody walking towards you and they're walking that overshield, you're just like, oh hell no, this is gonna suck. And you're just like, so dude, I have had some of the best multiplayer experiences I've had in a long time playing Halo Infinite, and I get those vibes of Halo 3. And I still remember back in Halo 3 when everybody was standing outside in the lines late at night, ready to sleep at the door just to get their hands on a copy of Halo 3. And it's starting to feel like that again. And I just love the vibe that the community is putting off. I love the vibe that I see when I see social media talking about Halo. It is definitely an exciting time for people to be Halo fans.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. I don't think there's really they've put their stamp on it. They've shown and proven at this particular point in time that game is in the right company. Saying shout out to Neo Game Spark. What's up, my guy? Popping in the chat. What's up, brother? I just came from his stream as well. I was watching his Q&A, but shout out to you, bro. Neo, appreciate you, brother. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. And we're going to the town in which Pong So resides. He has a home there. Matter of fact, I think you own a few
co-mayor. We got three mayors.
Exactly.
We got three
right.
mayors now.
That's right. That's right. I forgot. My bad. I got to make sure we talk about this in a proper manner. But yeah, we're heading to speculation town here, people. So Pong will be your tour guide on this trip. So just make sure all hands and knees are inside the vehicle. But we're gonna be talking a little about Game Pass. So we got some information. It wasn't intentional, but it was information irregardless. The CEO of Take-Two essentially was on live TV. They were doing I believe it was some type of seminar campfire with Phil Spencer. They got to talking about some information regarding Game Pass. He dropped 30 mil. The video gets taken down. Twitter goes crazy. We're talking about it a little bit here. So I kind of want to throw this over to you first, Sante, and just get your quick opinion on where are you at with that? Like we know the last known number for Game Pass, 18 mil back in January. Yep. Logically, 30 mil is about where it should be logically, even
makes sense. Yeah.
Even if you're looking like a mil a month or somewhere in that range, like they were doing previously, that's about in that range where it should be. And that's me just being, not a math major. But go ahead, man.
Mm-hmm. No. I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you. And it's funny. Myself and the aforementioned Everborn Saga, we go about that.
Shout
We
out,
talk about that
Everborn.
pretty. Shout out to Everborn. We talk about that pretty frequently. And it's funny. You can when Phil doesn't want to have a conversation about something certain, he tries hard, but you could tell that man was not happy to have that conversation. But no, Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I just it was one of the moments. As soon as the cameras went off, it was like, we got to make a phone call.
That's right. Well, myself and Everborn will talk about how the last shareholders meeting, they did not share any Game Pass numbers, even though the one before that they did. So we're all like speculating. I wonder why that is. And based on what happened here, I think it's because they want to hit you across the head with a big number. Like, they want to hit you across the head with a monstrous number. So they want to just keep 18 out there and let the speculation roll, fun speculation land where it's 97 and sunny all the time. They want to let
75.
People,
97 is too hard. Too
hot.
But, and don't forget
I live in the South, so it's always hot up
rainbows. Yeah, I know, Case. Don't forget the unicorns and rainbows, though. That's the most important.
Exactly. But no, it seems to me that that's really what they're after. Because there's been a lot made of Game Pass. We know we don't have to go all into it. There's been a narrative developing for both good and bad, right? And once they have a good amount of subscribers, like once they hit a magic number, then it's all at that point, then they can walk around like that 10-pound gorilla. Right now, it's Microsoft, but somehow they've been able to thread that needle to be the underdog all the time, which is hilarious, right? They've been able to do that, but slowly but surely, Game Pass is seeming to become that powerhouse that we all see it's coming to be. And it looks like when that was announced and shared, he looked a little flustered. I'll just say he just looked a little. Let's move on real quick, shall we? But no, the numbers are not surprising, And my question is, had that not come out the way it did, when would we have officially heard more numbers? I'm hoping we would have seen something more this year, because before the year ends, Microsoft makes a big push, right? Last year end, the big push, the big amazing moment was to coincide with the launching of the new console, which was, hey, we're bringing EA games into Game Pass, things like that. I suspect there will be a big push, similar push this year as well. We still have the VGAs, exactly. Other events that they might still have an opportunity to speak to the fans in a bigger way. So, I expect to see those numbers like grow exponentially, and they hit you in the head with a big
Halo,
like ridiculous number. And Halo, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, that whole story was funny to me because just similarly to when Phil speaks about we don't want to be like the other guys or all this other stuff. You can always see that he is very well trained, but his frustration is clear. And this one was one of those was where he was just like, Can we talk about my shelf or something? It wasn't about the money, about the numbers, but it is exciting. I mean, as a Game Pass, a frequent Game Pass user, I play it everywhere. I play it in VR. Pro tip for those who don't know: Oculus Quest 2, the browser supports it, and you can sideload the app. So I play it on a huge virtual screen. You can play it anywhere because that's where they want you to play it, right? So I'm excited to see the numbers grow, because when the numbers grow, then they have to feed that beast more, and we are a hungry bunch that wants more and more. So I'm excited for the future.
All right, great point. I agree 100%. And a lot of key things you touched on with Game Pass specifically. But I think that the numbers are important. And I did see that quick, like it was about a 2 seconds worth of that vein came out on Phil's forehead. It was quick. It was instantaneous, and he went right back to CEO mode. That was impressive. But for a quick second, he was like, "God damn!" Like,
indeed,
can't tell nobody
nothing. That's right.
Dang. But anyway, let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. This is something me and Fuzz we talk about this all the time, like just in whether it be texting, whether it be in party chat, and this is something that you've mentioned, like specific numbers in 30 mil. You've been talking about 30 being a number for them for like a year and a half. Yeah. So I kind of want to give your breakdown on like what that means, because you've brought up a lot of great points. Like go back in the archives and check the other podcasts about you and how you feel about where Game Pass is going to end up at.
Well, like somewhere between like the 30 and 35 point, I figured that's where they can now rely on Game Pass to bring in the revenue that Live was bringing in, and Live won't be as relevant. Not saying that they completely phase it out, but you'll notice that the focus will be more removed from Live and more towards Game Pass Ultimate at
You
that
think
point.
that's the play though? You think ultimately live gets phased out?
To some extent, but it'll probably be after they're at the 50 million mark. But I think 35 is between 30 and 35 is when the transition starts. That's when they know what they've invested should start, coming in at the percent numbers that they want to be able to sustain it and still be profitable on it at that point. Like it's more than likely, not to get into the raw numbers as far as profitability of it, but I think that's like the key figure of that recurring revenue where they'll be completely satisfied with what they've put in, the continuing investments that they're going to put in, rumored potential future investments that they're considering or working on at the moment. But the 30 to 35 million, I figured if they can get to 30 million at the end of the year, I think that's where they take the gloves off really or completely and start pushing for more of their first party launches. Instead of doing just 4 in a year, doing 6 a year into the service, and really get their motor going as far as constant content updates. You may see a little bit of a move or a little bit of a shift from the third party, day and date deals. But at that point, all of their first parties will be firing on all cylinders to kind of have things moving. But the 30 million mark, there's a couple of reasons why I feel that it's got some accuracy to it. Like considering, well, a couple of things. The CEO of Take Two had said once before that he doesn't feel that having their big titles like your GTAs or your Red Deads, potentially like a Red Dead 3 or GTA 6, day and date in the service, it doesn't necessarily make sense for them. But for them to make that claim, he would have probably had conversations with Phil or Sarah or any of the team members on what their numbers are to kind of
Yeah, it had to
substantiate
be some
that.
dialogue in the conversation. I'm sure it was dialogue for
Yeah.
sure.
So that's one of those things where, if they're going to try to sweeten a deal or pitch a deal to get those games from their devs for day and date, they have to at least give them some sort of numbers that they're going to be working with, so they can have expectations and see if it fits their business model or business plan for those games. Um, Another thing is, with them already selling games on that platform, they should have a rough idea based on the number of downloads, especially considering how for the MPD for Xbox as well as for PlayStation, but just particularly now with Xbox, GTA 5 is always in the top 20, if not always in the top 10. So they can see when that service was, or when the game was in that service, if there was an increase, and if that increase equaled what may have been like the upfront payment, or if it's a per download payment, they can kind of work backwards off of their previous numbers and get a rough estimate of how many people were exposed to that, having it in that service. So
Yeah.
there's bound to be some validity to it. It may not be exactly at 30 million. It could be, plus or minus 2 or so million up or down, but there's definitely smoke where there's fire type of thing. Because I can't imagine him pulling that out of his butt, especially after saying that those new titles may not be in their best interest is to have it in the day and date service. But yeah, man, talk about one of
It
those
was
slip ups where it's
yeah,
like,
it was
oh
random.
yeah, I'm on camera, I'm doing an interview, and oh, I
With
just
Phil.
yeah,
Phil's
it's
right.
like I
Like you
just
did, you
said
forgot
something
who
that,
you were sitting with, dude. Like you forgot.
and stuff like that happens because
It
you'll
does.
even have like some of those that have like insider info every now and then slip up, and then they try to cover up that they try to backtrack a little bit and hope that nobody catches that or clips that part of the conversation. But having it pulled down, I think adds even more, just for the fact that if it was erroneous, typically there's a response. Typically there's something like, oh, that's not true, or because Xbox in the past, they were slow to respond to misinformation. As of more recently, like I would say as of 2018 and up, anytime there's misinformation about their service or anything involving that brand, they're quick to squash that in the news cycle so it doesn't fester. But having something like that where it's like taken down, it's like they didn't just say, oh
Oh
no,
yeah.
that was, a slip up or an error. No, get it off of the air because we don't want that out there right now, type of thing. It's like, you squash it or silence it and hope that people forget about it. Like podcasts like ours don't talk about it, and maybe the investors won't be disappointed where, like, if they're at 30 million now, and then at the end of the year they're only at 35, that may not seem like that big of a jump. People will be like, oh well, wait, you had two big titles launched towards the end of the year. That 5 million subscriber bump doesn't seem as substantial. But if you're still floating off of the 18 million, and they hit you at the end of the year with 30 million or 35 million, that's going to be, to investors, especially when they were only roughly averaging just shy of $1 million a month type of thing, when they were really starting to grow, that definitely puts a bit more spice to the growth of that platform. So I expect we'll probably find out something after Halo releases, because I don't think they want any real numbers out there until after, like, their biggest title for the year is out there. So that way, like I
That
said,
makes sense.
going from 18 to 30, that smacks. That people take notice on stuff like that.
All right,
So
cool. Well, no,
that's all
I
I got.
agree. I agree with a lot of those points. Interesting. Like you said, it's just interesting that this happened. Random as hell. I think we
Yeah.
all can agree it was extremely random, slow day, and then boom, that happens and everything goes crazy. So love the gaming community, man. That's why we're all here. But let's go ahead and throw this over to Pong, man. Pong, we've talked about this. Chat, you guys know, if you're familiar with us, we've talked about this Game Pass and it being what it is and being this juggernaut and then really taking this seriously. And we're really starting to, the tree is starting to bear the fruit. And this is just a small tree at this point, So where you at as far as, like, and I'm sure you've talked about this 8 times this week. I promise you have, but just where you at, man, on this. I mean, obviously where there's smoke, there's fire. You don't take that video down for no reason. Just kind of where you at.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, first of all, to kind of give a counterpoint, Jeff Grubb, shout out to Jeff Grubb, obviously knows what he's talking about. And he came out and said that he thought that Strauss had just made it up out of thin air. I can't co-sign that. Again, much respect to Jeff Grubb. Much respect to the man, but I just can't. I can't.
Not because at that level. Those are CEOs.
Right. When Fuzzy, like what you and Fuzzy were just talking about, at high levels, those discussions, I'm not saying they give exact numbers, but when you are talking contracts for Game Pass, there has to be some basis, right? If you were going to put a product into a vending machine, and the guy that had the vending machines was like, no, trust me, I got a lot of them. Don't worry about it. You put your product in here, it's going to sell, right? Look, that's not how this works at high level, especially CEO level and that kind of stuff. There are conversations, and Strauss made it clear that they've been conversating about Game Pass. So I'm sure the rough numbers have come up. If you look at the pace they were on, it makes sense that they're at somewhere between 25 and 28 million right now. Right. Yeah. So Strauss was just rounding up at this point.
Conservative as well, by the way, because we
right.
Exactly.
But let's just assume. Yeah.
Technically, doesn't he have other games that are currently in Game Pass now?
Yeah,
and they have a right to know those numbers.
Correct.
It's not hypothetical. They know the numbers.
Right. They would have
they have other games that are in there right now.
Correct. Right. Exactly. Grand Theft Auto was just in there again. So,
right. So they definitely know the numbers.
Right. Exactly. So I think personally he was just rounding up, giving Phil some credit, because the whole conversation, the context of that conversation was that he started out by saying, well, that was great. Something to the effect, like, I commend Phil for not, bragging about his service, right? Because Phil had just answered a question and Phil didn't even talk about Game Pass. And then that's when Strauss went into well, you're at about 30 million
Yeah.
right now, right? And that so. And then body language. You guys already hit on Phil's body language. Again, we know Phil. Phil is out there. We've seen him in so many interviews. You can tell. Like, if you're one of those people that watches body language, you know when Phil has a question that he's not comfortable with, or whatever the case may be, right? And you can see when a statement's made, Phil inside is screaming, right? Internally, right? That you could see it in his face. He did a great job with his usual smile. But the minute he said the word publicly, right, and said 18 million, that's when you take a look at what Strauss did. And Strauss gave it all up, right? Strauss did the classic human move inside his head. The minute that Phil went ahead and said, well, publicly, we've stated we're at 18 million. That word right there, Strauss, it instantly clicked in his head. Oh, F. I just messed up. That was conversation. That was part of our high level. That was part of our NDA stuff. That's not supposed to be said. He turned away from the camera, and then he did the suit adjustment, right? He adjusted himself in his seat, and he's like, well, it's definitely more than 18 million. That's what he said. That was his cover up, right? So, but you could tell that was that moment when he knew he effed up majorly, and it should not have been said like that. But again,
just to reconcile, you can go ahead and throw us Grand Theft Auto 6. It's okay.
Right.
Call it even, and we'll just sweep this under the rug. All right. Don't worry about it, Strauss.
Yeah, but like Fuzzy said, we're all human beings. It's going to happen even to these guys that are high-level conversations. They have so many conversations. They talk about so much stuff with everybody across the industry. Again, I can't imagine trying to keep it all straight sometimes and what's okay to say, what's not okay to say. Man, it boggles my mind sometimes how these guys do interviews. But anyways, so yeah, no, I think it was realistic. I think it was close. Like I said, I think he rounded up. I think 30 million is the milestone that they're waiting to hit before they announce it. I think we will get that announcement by the end of the year. I think with Forza Horizon and with Halo dropping, I think it will push them over that mark for sure, wherever they're at right now, maybe, even well beyond that mark. And I think that's what they're waiting for, those milestones to come out and announce. Like I said in the chat, I don't know if the stuff went through, but I'm petty. I personally would have a live counter on my Xbox.com. I personally would be McDonald's back in the day, showing how many people I've served on Game Pass. That's how I would do it. But again, Phil, Satya, they've got investors to consider. They've got stocks to consider. That's also part of why they probably had this taken down. You don't want stock prices affected. If it gets out there, the narrative is Strauss does know the 30 million is close. Well, all of a sudden you can see stock prices rise, and that would be premature, right, before they announce. So you don't want that kind of stuff happen. There's so many considerations here.
Yeah.
But it's a great mark. It means they're still on pace, like I said, at this growth without any real first party big time titles, right? That is the most impressive part of all of this. Nothing major has dropped yet. So if they can maintain this pace now with where they're at by doing these third-party deals they've been doing, getting some hits in there that we've seen some smaller games now like Psychonauts 2 and that kind of stuff drop in there without any of your big home run hitters getting into Game Pass. What's it going to look like when those start hitting, right? Especially if they come out and they do well. And again, they review well. We've talked about that plenty of times. Reviews for a lot of us here on the panel are like, whatever, we play what we like. But for the masses, for the mainstream, sometimes it takes those great reviews to spread the word out there. Like we've seen with some of these smaller titles, to get the word out to everybody. Hey, look, you want to come over to this ecosystem, you want to jump into Game Pass, it is the best value. You're getting Forza Horizon 5, you're getting Halo, both of them are, whatever, 80, 85, 90 Metacritics, whatever it is. And look, people are going to start paying attention and going, yeah, that is freaking ridiculous value. We already know it is.
Yeah.
We do in this community, right? Because the way we play games, again, 3 games and you've got your whole year paid for. Everything after that is just extra. Right. Everything after that is the ice cream. Right. But it's going to take more than that to hit that mainstream. But I think this is where they're at. I think it was true. I think Strauss did give up the goat on that one. He let the cat out of the bag, whatever you want to say. I think it was a mistake, but it is just good to hear and kind of confirm what I think is that we're at. I definitely think that they got to be close. So,
All right.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion, man. Get your opinion on just the that whole situation regarding Game Pass. And like I said, let's make sure we frame this the correct way. From a conservative, just me, this is about where I felt like they were gonna be at anyway. And that was just me being I think we did this around like February, didn't we, Pong, for Centurion? I think we did this on the show. We even threw out some numbers, and we don't ever really do that. We even threw out some numbers where we thought they would be at. I have to go back and double check, but I think most of us had it being 27 plus 26, 28, somewhere in that range. You know, just
I think it was high.
numbers.
I think I said between 30 and 35 by the end of the year. I think I was high.
Probably. Yep. I think Clubs was right up there in the 30 somewhere as well. Same here. So yeah, like I said, once again, we're not Schwammies. This is just something that we were just projecting out, right? We do this fantasy football, fantasy gaming type stuff. But let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion. Just where you at on this, bro?
Where am I at on this? Let's see. I do believe there's like some credence to this. I have to agree with Pong. You know, no offense to Jeff Grubb, it's amazing to listen to his stuff, but I'm pretty sure out of respect, maybe he's just trying to damage control the fact that somebody slipped up and said something that they maybe shouldn't have. Because, I mean, why else do you just like start pulling down interviews and start trying to have all this control of that wasn't what was said. That wasn't what was said. And I mean, like you said, it seems like they were on track to be somewhere around like 25, 28 million for about this point in time in the year. And let's just really break that down. If all of these people are paying $10 a month at least, and we're not going to go off of dollar theory, because I really haven't seen too many dollar deals popping around for people that aren't already a Game Pass subscriber. Let's really think about that. That means Game Pass is at right now currently a $3 billion subscription service generator a year. I mean, that's not nothing to scoff at. It only makes us $3 billion a year. It's no big deal.
That's essentially what Live was making them. I think I don't know, Pong, Fuzz, you guys may know the number. Maybe even Asante, you guys may know, but I think it's Live was making about 3 or something annually.
Yeah,
I think just from
the numbers were pretty similar.
Yeah, they're pretty close. I think Live might have even been 5 at one point.
Like that,
something like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, now we've got Live mixed into all of this because, I mean, if you go Game Pass Ultimate, the numbers go up from there. So Microsoft definitely is generating a lot of revenue from this service. They also, what we know, Phil Spencer does not want to fuel console war narratives. So he does like keeping a lot of those numbers close to his chest. He does not want to be out there trying to perpetuate. We can always remember that quote he put out, that why do I have to be successful based on someone else's failures? There is enough room in this industry for us all to be successful. And that's one thing I've always loved about him, is he's not out there trying to rub Game Pass in Sony's face. It's more like, hey, this is what we're doing to compete. What you got going on over there? And it's a good time to be excited about Game Pass. I mean, it is definitely making it to where gaming is way more affordable for us with Game Pass. People are looking at that. We all have our eyes set on Halo, which is going to come around in December, which probably is more than likely going to make Game Pass numbers explode even more. I couldn't be happier with the service. I enjoy the content they're giving me. I'm totally excited that the numbers are growing as high as they are. I will never forget back in 2019, I think it was like around November-ish. Well, actually, it was about this time, actually, in about 2019, October-ish. I came out and there was an article that said that Game Pass was potentially at 9.5 million subscribers. And I touted that, congratulating Phil Spencer, saying, you know, congrats on the potential 9.5 subscribers. And I had all these Sony activists coming at me about my how I'm spreading disinformation and all this other stuff, and that there's no way in hell that Game Pass can pull that many people in because people are stupid. They don't like renting their games and all this other stuff. And now it's just kind of like you want to have that conversation again with them, and it's going to be like, so about that 9.5 billion, where do you think they're at now? It's a definitely interesting thing that whole situation went down. It really stinks that I didn't really get to see the actual interview before it was pulled down. All I've really seen are like little clips and like quotes coming out of all these articles about it.
But it is,
huh?
No, I said it got pulled down fairly quickly. So.
Oh yeah, I was made aware of it because I think it was like Benji Sales and some other people on Twitter were talking about it, and so I started having to sift through it after it had already been pulled off the internet, and it did make me chuckle. Like, I mean, the minute he said it, you were almost waiting for somebody to kick the door in, and they put like a pillowcase over his head and they drag him off camera. You know, like, why'd you say that? But definitely, it is definitely one of those situations where he did stick his foot in his mouth, regrettably. And you never know. Now, maybe there's a favor that's owed towards Microsoft for somebody slipping up.
It could be. You never know, man. Could be. So this is very interesting, and we do this every year. But this is something that, like I said, was unexpected. Obviously, where there's smoke, there's fire. You know, you don't have that effect of let's pull this down for no reason. So I think, you know, we'll keep an eye on this. You know, hopefully, I think we're about due for Game Pass numbers anyway. We didn't get any, like he said, this past quarter from the investors meeting. We didn't hear anything, so it makes sense that we'll get some sometime soon. If worst case scenario, early next year, after the Halo stuff, you know, the Halo kind of hits its stride and all of that happens. But let's go ahead and move on to the next topic, man. We're talking a little bit of Sony here. You know, we like to keep it well-rounded. Shout out to Chris in the chat. You talking crazy, Chris. I'm gonna leave you alone. Talking crazy about 6K, 8K. Yeah, we gonna keep pushing. But we talk about Sony acquiring Bluepoint, man. And this is something that was probably the worst kept secret in the history of video games. We were just all waiting on this to happen. This is like that couple, you know, that always sneak and hold hands at the barbecue. And then like 3 years later, they get married. You're like, what are you guys acting like we didn't know y'all was dating already? You know, so it's one of them things, Asante. So where you at with the Bluepoint acquisition? Once again, fantastic studio. If you guys don't know, they do a ton of they're pretty much remake central, remaster central, Demon Souls, all those cool remakes. They're extremely talented. This time, aren't they? They're working on their own IP this time, though.
Yeah,
I believe the next
game.
It
has been reported. Yeah, they are working on their own IP.
They're working.
I'm actually going through Demon Souls right now. Nice. I initially hadn't played it, didn't buy it because I've played the one on PS3. I actually remember playing it, so it was not too much of a didn't have the inclination to play it day one, but after a while I thought I'd give it a shot, and graphically it is absolutely spectacular.
Impressive.
It is very, very impressive, and I played some of their other remakes as well, and they have always done great work. I think this was you know, like you said, worst kept secret, right? And the funny thing about it is, even when they announced the other studios they acquired, when they announced they had acquired, they threw this in. They kind of went, "Oh, we we went too far. Take it back. We'll announce that next month." You know, that basically. But clearly, the signs were there, and you know, and it's well deserved. It's a good fit for them. They've been working together pretty closely for a good while. So, you know, I'm excited to see the new IP. You know, as I said with 343. When you're a studio built to do other things, one day I enjoy the idea of you finally getting your own freedom and getting to execute your own ideas, execute your own creativity, and they've shown that they can definitely, you know, interpret others' ideas in a fresh new way. So let's see what they can do. You know, I think it's a great idea, and I think it's wonderful that PlayStation was able to do it. You know, the whole consolidation of the market is a necessary evil at this point. You know, it's happening whether you like it or not, and better that they pick these studios that they have good relationships with, so that, you know, us consumers will get the best of that. You know, that is my honest take. My spicy little my spicy cynical take is gotta love that organic growth, you know.
Oh, I knew it. I knew the bag was coming up. I knew you
gotta love that organic growth. What are you gonna do? I love how, because people always say stuff like that, and I'm just like, if you really pay close attention, their numbers are pretty even as to opening, buying, and closing studios. They're pretty even. Like, PlayStation has theirs, Xbox has theirs, but if you really pay attention, they're pretty even as to, hey, there is a graveyard on the PlayStation side of a few studios that didn't make it, as well as Xbox, right? Which has been well defined. It's part of business. It is what it is, right? But there's this narrative that, oh, when they do it, it's organic, but somehow Xbox is just buying everything, and I'm just like, if you kind of pay attention, it's pretty even, you know. So this will hit deep to those in the organic growth camp. We shall see how they change the goalpost on that one. But I'm excited because this all just equals more awesome games that PlayStation will eventually get. So it's cool news for me.
Absolutely. Same here. I'm in the same boat. Like, I don't have any issues with it at all. It makes
Yeah,
sense.
not
Like
at
you
all.
said, very similar to Bethesda. You know, you're already dating. You're already, you already go to each other for everything. You run the tech by each other. You share software, all type of different things. So it just makes sense. So it just, like you said, and the idea that companies buying things that they need is foreign is ridiculous. Like, obviously, if we don't have it and we can't build it homegrown, we're going to go find it,
Yep.
and purchase it. That way it fits into our portfolio. So I always thought, just from that standpoint, that whole, like you said, that whole camp was kind of ridiculous. The whole organic, camp was a bit overblown, a bit disingenuous, because that's not true. I mean, every companies go buy what they need all the time.
All
That's
the
how
time. That's
companies
right.
grow.
That's right.
So either way, I'm not gonna get too far in my bag. Let me go ahead and let y'all talk about this situation. But we're gonna go ahead and throw this over to Pong. We leaving speculation town, Pong. We'll be back soon, but we're leaving for now.
Oh no!
But
acquisitions are always speculation. Let's go. Let's go. We can keep adding to it. Come on, it's acquisition season. Let's go.
Just the Bluepoint pickup for Sony, man. Where you at on that?
Yeah, no, great. It made total sense. Obviously, they had done the oopsie when they had put out the wrong graphic. They had the graphic all ready for it. We all knew it was just a matter of time. They've had a close relationship with Bluepoint. It was a great pickup. The company has done absolute quality work for Sony in their remasters. And so this is one of those relationships, just like, Xbox had their relationship with Bethesda. So the ZeniMax deal made sense. This one makes sense for Sony. Again, these are the types of pickups that need to be made. This is the rounding out. It doesn't always have to be the big ones, right? A lot of the times it's the small ones that come back that prove to be the best quality. Right, exactly. And Bluepoint, I think, is going to be an absolute quality studio for Sony. And they have that working relationship. They know. Phil's talked about this. Everybody in business understands the idea that the having an established relationship, knowing how a team works in a creative environment such as gaming, it can't be underscored how important that is and what that means. They come in and they transition like nothing ever happened. We've already seen it with ZeniMax, right? All these teams have come in, business as usual, no big deal. Just keep doing what you guys are doing. We know
got a bigger bank account.
Yep.
Now.
Yeah, exactly. You just come talk to us now when you need more. That's all it is, right? So, but anything that we talk about, you guys understand where I'm coming from. I understand where you guys are coming from. The communication's already on par. And that's exactly what's happened here with Bluepoint. It's great that for a small team like this, you know me, I love these smaller teams. I love watching these up and coming teams make it happen, right? That is a huge deal for me. I love to see these people that have worked their butts off for a long time get their shot and get their accolades and what they deserve. And so for me, having that happen to a team like Bluepoint, who has put in the time and effort to get to this part, and now again they've come out and said that they're going to work on their own IP, whatever that means. Maybe it's a reimagining of an older IP. Sony has tons of classic IP to work with, much like Microsoft, even more than Xbox, right? They have all this backlog of IP. Maybe they'll do something like that. Maybe it will be a fresh IP. Either way, they get to come in, work on a much bigger project and that they've currently been working on, get to show even more what they can do and prove their worth. And that to me is what this is all about. That's what most studios strive to do when they put their, creative minds to work. They're trying to make the best product they've ever put out before. They're trying to make a product that more people enjoy than have in previously of their previous work. They're always trying to better themselves. That's what this industry is about. So this just gives them the opportunity to do it. I also thought it was really, really interesting. There was, not really, really interesting because I know what's happening, but I think the more the word gets out, the better this gets, because the organic versus non-organic BS, the fanboyism needs to be shown the door. This stuff is garbage. This is business. Okay. It doesn't matter how you get there. At the end of the day, these companies are going to use the advantages that they have in order to acquire the most talent that they possibly can, because that's what this whole industry is based upon. And it doesn't matter whether it's organic. There's nothing, you can create all the new rules that you want to for how you're going to talk about acquisitions or how you're going to talk about certain devs. It does not matter at the end of the day. It's business. But I thought it was interesting. Herman Hulse came out in the interview, right after the acquisition and spoke on acquisitions again and said, look, we're not stopping. We're growing. Guess what? It's time. So again, everybody that's all fired up about acquisition season, everybody that hates that talk, whatever the case may be, this is the reality. If you hate the industry, consolidating, guess what? Buckle up. It's going to get even bigger. We're talking about, there's some huge things coming down the pipeline within this generation that are going to be earth shattering. Okay. I feel that, I feel this goes beyond gaming. Kay Asante was on with us last night on Xbox Ultimate. We had Dealer on as well. Dealer dropped the nugget. Dealer's saying that there's been.
I saw that.
Yeah, Dealer dropped the nugget. He dropped a couple nuggets actually, but the one that I was focused on.
Dealer too, because he did mention the shop as well during the show. Shout out to Dealer,
absolutely.
man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, nothing but respect for
I
Dealer. But he dropped that nugget, man, saying that what he's heard behind the scenes, it's bigger than anything that we've even thought of yet. That there has been a seismic shift, and I've talked about this on Living Split Screen, has talked about this on other shows, that you got to wonder if at Microsoft's top level, at Satya's level, with him and his Phil conversating, if they had a seismic shift in philosophy and they are looking at the entertainment industry as a whole, what does that mean? Because then that changes the whole dynamic. Because if we are looking just at the gaming industry, we know it's consolidating, right? For a reason. But if you look at it from the entertainment industry, guess what? Video games are now the #1 entertainment industry in the world, which means they're sitting at the front of the table. All of a sudden, they're not. Just like how Phil got invited to the big table at Microsoft Corp, all of a sudden, video games aren't the cute little kid's toy off to the side in the entertainment world. They are now they are the main player, and the other industries are looking at that and wanting to get a piece of pie. We see Disney out here making deals to get their IPs out there in the world, right? We see Netflix buying up buying their first game company, getting ready to rock and roll. We've seen Amazon now; they just had their first taste of success with New World that just launched this week. So do not doubt do not doubt for a minute that first taste. It's like it's like a man eating shark. They get that first taste of blood, like Jaws, human blood, and they want more, right? They got their first taste of success. If you don't think that's not going to embolden Amazon, you're nuts. Amazon's going to be emboldened by this New World success. They're going to start looking again. They had some failures. They closed, stopped making a game, shut it down, but they're on their way too. Okay. So now you've got this industry, movies, TV, books, all that kind of stuff, comic books, all of it, that is included. But then they got video games sitting at the head of the table right now. And everybody wants a piece of that pie. Everybody sees that this industry is not going away. It's only going to grow. And we can't have 30, 40, 50 subscription services. It's just not going to be feasible. It is not sustainable to have that many. So what's going to happen? People are going to partner up. People are going to acquire other people in all forms of content. And if this shift that Dealer hinted at last night has happened, if this philosophy has changed within Microsoft and they're ready to enter the entertainment industry as a whole, which is going to help them. We've talked about all the different types of acquisitions they could make for months and months and months. That changes the entire game, because now you got to think really big. You can't, I've been talking about this for a long time. We as gamers really stay focused in our little bubbles. And we really have the small view of the world, because for decades we've kind of seen the same kind of industry. Everything's changing right now. We're at the tipping point where everything's changing, and this consolidation isn't going away. Sony included. When Sony comes out with their Gamepass, alternate, whatever that form it takes, and we know they have a deal with Netflix now. They're not just going to offer games in there. They're going to offer their movies. They're going to offer their music. Why? Because it adds more value to their service. And that's what customers decide upon at the end of the day when they're choosing different services, is that they want that value out of it. And so Xbox knows that, Microsoft knows that. Game Pass right now is strictly games. They need to start thinking ahead too. They're looking 10, 15, 20 years down the road. What are they going to be offering their subscription service when they're trying to get to 2-3 billion people like they've stated their goal is? They got to have more content theirs too. They got to have a diversity of content, not just games. So guess what? Buckle up. This is going to continue. Herman Hulst confirmed it in that interview. Sony's not playing around. Look, this stuff's going to keep happening, but this Bluepoint thing was huge. I know I went off on a tangent there, but I love this stuff. I absolutely love this business. I love the chess moves. I love where we're at in this industry. Everything is shifting. It goes beyond gaming. It's just very interesting to watch this all go down. And we're right here in the middle of it, kind of getting to watch it all happen at this time. And it's I can't wait to see what we come out with at the end of this generation. But Sony's on its way. Sony's not going anywhere. Sony's here to stay. Here, they're still kings of the mountain. They're here to play. And this Bluepoint was a small acquisition, but it was a very, very high quality acquisition. And they're going to get some really good things out of this group. So I'm excited.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and throw it over to you, Centurion. We're talking a little bit about the Bluepoint acquisition with Sony and how that bolsters. It's just something that made sense. Ultimately, we've all kind of known this forever, for a few years now that just made sense. We've seen that happen on both sides of the fence with Xbox as well. Obviously, Bethesda just made sense once it actually happened. But we'll just get your opinion here on just where you at with that. Obviously it's a great acquisition, but ultimately, where do you think that's going to fall with Sony in the first party?
Well, I will definitely say it's going to help bolster their first-party offerings. Really great studio, has talent in doing remakes and remasters. They also talk about doing an original game now that they're under the Sony umbrella officially. So they definitely have a history of supporting Sony. Definitely, as everybody was, it's an organic acquisition, but it is also comical. Yeah. The reason why I had to laugh because Asante, to go with what Asante was saying earlier, their last acquisition just a little few weeks ago, we're talking Fire Sprite. Imagine you being a game developer and you've put all your blood, sweat, and tears into a studio like Studio Liverpool, and Sony comes in and says, "Hey guys, we're shutting it down." They closed down Studio Liverpool, and these developers went and started Fire Sprite. And here comes Sony again. "Hey, we just bought you. Hopefully you don't shut the doors again." Could you imagine getting away from your boss, and all of a sudden your boss shows back up, and because he bought the other company that you work for now? Could you imagine being in that position? Like
that must have been an interesting conversation.
Oh, dude, for real. And this is all on the internet for people to see, but we're not talking about that. But this is a definite organic acquisition compared to that. We all knew this was going to happen because somebody got the flashcards wrong, as Pong Soul pointed out. I totally chuckled when that whole situation took place. Talk about sticking your foot in the mouth.
Was that during when they got Housemark?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep. And he needs whoever did that needs to go call up a dude over at Take-Two about how to backtrack when you do something accidental. For me though, it is definitely showing that PlayStation is paying attention to what the other players of the game are doing. PlayStation knows it wants to keep its place. They want to stay relevant in the gaming industry. So they are going to be making acquisitions just like everybody else. But we also know that Sony is going to be extremely strategic in those acquisitions purely because, what's the best way to describe it? I'm not going to flat out say that Sony doesn't have the money to make a purchase like Bethesda. I'm pretty sure if they were to dig deep and really want to do that, they would find the cash flow to be able to do that. But for me, it just seems like Sony wants to be extremely strategic in what studios they bring under their umbrella, because Sony seems to want to go down a different path when it comes to gaming. As I believe it was Pong again mentioned how they've got to deal with Netflix. They're going to be offering a lot more when it comes to entertainment-based gaming. Things from established franchises like Marvel and other franchises in the entertainment industry. And this is where I feel Sony is definitely going down the path that they want to follow. Xbox is going down their own path, and it's going to be really interesting to see what the competition that these two companies are going to breed between them and what great games we're actually going to be able to play as a result of it.
Absolutely. And I think at the end of the day that we always circle back around on this show to that. We get in our bag. We was talking to Asante earlier, we kind of went a little left, and we do that. because it's fun, and we like to have fun with this game, and that's why we're here ultimately. But ultimately, we always circle back around it. This is going to benefit all of us, and at the end of the day, and I think you agree with this, Asante. If you have a problem as far as what games is going where and who's playing what on what, you just haven't put yourself in a position to take advantage.
That's right.
Of these
100%,
consoles and what the offerings are out there. So be mad at yourself, please.
Basically,
okay?
yes. Basically, yes.
Either way, I'm not gonna get too far into that. But did you go, Fuzz? I wanted to make sure we got you.
I don't think so, but yeah, I enjoy the whole organic growth conversation as far as when Sony does something versus when Xbox does. But it's good that they're going to do their own game. They've been pretty good, like remaster spot for Sony. Like Centurion said, it's good that PlayStation is paying attention to what their competition is doing and making their moves that they feel necessary to remain number one, or at least in the position that they're in currently. And that's it.
All right. Well, no, once again, I don't think anybody has an issue with the acquisition. Ultimately, that's where we're at. And like I said, we all kind of seen it coming. We've talked about it a couple times on the show. So let me give a couple quick shout outs to some new people in here. Bunty, obviously we saw Zinc. He's always here. Shout out to you, brother. Nix, Bacon Life. Shout out, bro. How you doing? Everybody watching live, once again, retweet the link. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. We appreciate you here, man. We're winding down the show, but you guys are always awesome every week. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the guests as well. Shout out to once again you, Asante, for being here, man. But let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. So we're going to be talking a little, and this is we're going right the fuck back to Speculation Town. We left for a short period of time.
It feels so good.
Back.
See, you're starting to get the vibe, PTK. Every week we get a little bit more.
You're pulling me in, dude. I don't know, man. You gave me a tour. I like the community.
Fun. Yeah,
it's nice, man.
You can't live here all the time. You can't live here all the time. Let's put it that way. You got to get down to facts. But look, stopping in, taking a vacation, it's nice in here. It's really, really nice.
Well, you've heard about how to get to Speculation Town, right, Pong?
Well, I know. I drive there all the time. I got a tour bus.
Oh, you got a tour bus. Oh, well, I heard it's like Squid Games. Some dude shows up in a red jumpsuit and you get gassed, and all of a sudden you're there.
Yeah, no. We do it much nicer. We take reservations. We bring a tour bus. We got snacks on the tour bus. We get everybody in a good mood by the time we get there, and then they're in paradise by the time they step off. It's awesome.
Awesome. I love it. So we're going back. So we're talking a little bit about something, a little nugget that came up, potentially Hellblade 2 potentially being at the VGAs. So this is something that struck me as a bit odd, considering I assume the game was further off, considering the assets they shown us last time were just assets. They weren't really anything. I don't say tangible, because obviously because we see them, they're tangible, but it is not really indicative of where they're at with the game. They're still doing mocap as far as I knew. So it's a little bit surprising that this would even be a thing. Obviously, we're in Speculation Town, so we're just going to enjoy it. Let me leave my logic out of this, ultimately. But just where you guys, we're going to start with the guests. Asante, where you at on, maybe this shows up. I want to throw something out here. I am of the mind that Xbox is going to do something at the VGAs.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where you're at with that, just that to start with. But as far as Hellblade 2, to kind of throw that piggyback on that as well.
Yeah, no, I agree as well that Hellblade, that they're definitely going to do something there. 100%. I agree with that. But what I think is also interesting is exactly what you just mentioned here, that it seemed that they didn't have everything. They were further away from showing something than originally presumed. Now, since we are in Speculation Town, I feel comfortable saying that we did also hear that there was that idea that there was something to be showed at last E3, but was left off. So whatever's there could be cleaned up or possibly reused. We don't know what that is, right? Am I surprised about it? No, because that's where it was initially, shown off. Microsoft has seen that it's a strategic advantage that they have to basically go and present something like this at Keighley's show, which it's not surprising that they're going to do that. What I will say, and more to piggyback on what you were saying there, that leads me to be a little bit concerned, because the thing that I enjoyed, one of the side effects of Microsoft buying Bethesda that I thought was great was maybe they'll stop that let's show you a game that's 5 years out thing, because Bethesda's very much 6 months. That was their cadence, right? And I know that they'll influence each other in interesting ways, and we're already seeing some of that. This is speculation town, of course. I just hope we don't see much like what has been the historical precedent, where they show you something and then it's very far away. If that's the case, you have so much more to say about other things that are more closely coming out. Show us one of those. If because the first time this came out, it was so I'm pretty sure that it has now been confirmed they were using Unreal 5.
They transitioned over as well.
Yeah,
didn't they go from 4 to 5?
That's right. They did transition from 4 to 5 to the point where when it was first shown, Digital Foundry didn't believe it was real, right? Because obviously the bit rate was shot weird, and there was just no pop-in at all. It was just a freaking movie. It was really, really so impressive that it was suspect, right? So at this point, if you're going to show this thing again, oh boy, you better come correct with it, because it was so impressive. It was suspect, right? They're gonna literally do that 400 times zoom and do all of that, So, and I know Microsoft knows this, right? Obviously, they invite it, because in many instances they even actually invite them to come and test the waters and all of that. I just hope that this doesn't lead to more black eyes, because I'm a multiplayer gamer, play on all systems, PC, consoles, all that. But I consider myself a multiplayer that plays mostly on Xbox. And so I can say that confidently. They are known for clutching defeat from the jaws of victory. They're so close. They're showing some really good stuff. People are genuinely excited for what's to come potentially. Exactly to what you were saying, PTK, about hey, from everything you've shown us thus far, we thought you set our expectations that this thing is a little further out, right? So if you're going to show us something else this year, it better be good, or it better not be. It better be, it better surprise us, and we better leave that showing thinking, hey, they're closer along than we thought. Because if it's not, then it might not be worth showing. I think maybe.
No, I do want to clarify what I said. So I didn't say that from a place of worry about Hellblade.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying that from a place of worry for myself. My perspective.
For sure.
Yeah,
okay.
the reason why I'm saying that is because I have always enjoyed how Bethesda likes to be like, well, there's nothing here, and then they show you something, and it's out in 6 months. That has always been the perfect time in their marketing cadence. I've always thought that was really good, and I hope they influence Microsoft in that way a bit more.
The thing that muddies the water with Xbox is all the new acquisitions. Now your timetable for these games are all over the place.
Yep.
Like these games.
But see, isn't that a good thing though?
It's
That's good, because then you can take more time on those things that need polishing to be special, right? You don't have to put all your eggs in that basket. So that's why I'm like, if you guys are showing this, I hope it's because you're confident that you have something to show, rather than we have to show something, because you really don't at this point, right?
Well, if depending on the Xbox, depending on the version of Xbox you believe Xbox is currently, if we believe that they're the version that they've been for the last probably since 2018, then they absolutely have something to show us. But if you still think that there's a hint of that 2018 and before Xbox, then they may BS us. But I don't think that they're going to go that route. I think that was the last thing they shown. Well, I mean, the biggest thing I think arguably is they showed the VGAs, where they debuted the Series X. They showed the console at the VGAs. So they're going to, if they do anything, it's going to be a big deal. I don't know if it's going to be obviously as big as showing a console, because none of us expected that at all. That was super left field. But I do believe that they're not going to go empty-handed. They're not going for like a B+. They're not going for golf claps. They're going to make an impact. So that's just me.
Open your mouth and leave you agape.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So
I agree.
All right, so let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. We'll double back to everyone else again before we wrap the show up. But just we've talked about this. I as soon as it happened, I sent you, I text you and mentioned it. You were scratching your chin about it. So where are you at after kind of thinking about it?
Yeah, like originally I wasn't expecting this game until probably late 2023 type of thing. And hearing this news that potentially it'll make an appearance at the VGAs gives me more confidence that it's going to be ready a little bit sooner. Considering that it was more of like in-engine stuff, when they first showed it at the VGAs. What was that, 2019?
Yeah.
I think it, well, one, it caught a lot of people off guard, and two, it definitely showed their aggressiveness and the direction that they wanted to take things. But like, I think a lot of people that are used to games being in a 4-year cycle, give or take, and add the pandemic and stuff into that equation, it just didn't seem like this might be right around the corner type of deal. And to hear that it may make an appearance this year, I'm starting to think maybe holiday 2022 or first quarter 2023, if
Sounds
not
about right.
sooner. It's a bit of a surprise. I'm at this point expecting possibly gameplay, but considering the updates that we've had up to this point,
And it's current gen only as well, correct? Only
yeah,
Xbox Series.
I think with it being just for the next gen systems, this is going to be one of the first games that they that, without it being like a PC port per se type of thing, that is just strictly next gen and from first party, that is. And I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I was not expecting to hear anything. This VGA, I was expecting maybe Compulsion's game that's been buzzed about in the background here and there. But yeah, I figured this was a little bit further out than what showing it at the VGAs this year might lead on to. So
Yeah, no,
pleasantly surprised.
absolutely. And once again, we're in speculation town here, people. So, obviously we want to take the baton to run too far, but ultimately, even if like this is a thing, I'm completely surprised. Like you said, the time that throws off my time to, if they do show it, like how much and what capacity, I guess is what the next question, right? Like that's the next thing that matters. Like, well, how much do they show and what do they show? They show, obviously gameplay, what are we going to see exactly? So, I completely forgot that this would be the first current gen only Xbox first party game shown. So that's interesting too. And so we'll see where this goes. But Pong, we're in speculation town. You're right at home. Where are we at on this, man? As far as Hellblade possibly showing up at VGAs?
A couple different ways to look at this. I think that everybody's covered it so far. How you can look at this. Me personally, not to pour cold water, but I still think we're looking at holiday 2023 at the earliest.
That's
early.
fair.
I think
fair.
spring. I think spring 2024 is more likely. Just where they're at, unless this is a much smaller game than some of us are expecting. Another smaller experience than potentially with. The increase in size of the studio, and all that kind of stuff, they might be able to get it out sooner. But I think if it does show up, it's going to be out of character, number one. Unlike Kay Asante, as everybody here knows, as my brothers on the show know, I'm the guy who wants to see all my Christmas presents before Christmas, right? So I'm going to go find them all. So if I was Phil, I'd be dropping it all on the table and saying, ha, 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 yeah, come on over to Xbox, right? So I'd show everything. I don't care how far out it is. That's just me, okay? And I know that's not how it
horrible
works.
CEO, horrible.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Now, don't forget, there's been some people who have wanted me to be promoted to CEO because of some of my other plans. So it would be a give and take situation here, PTK. But anyways,
true.
So I think that if my gut is closer to correct, if we're still talking then at end of 2023, because I still think, again, the transition to Unreal 5, talked to 3-bit about this extensively. He has hands-on with Unreal 5. He's worked with Unreal 4. He's in the industry. He's making games currently. He's working with big companies. He understands this stuff. And just talking to him, Unreal 5 makes the transition very easy. Much simpler than say Unreal 3 to Unreal 4. However, there is still a transition period. So this transition, Unreal 5, even if they were one of the first groups to get their hands on it, we're still talking, beginning of this year. It's still going to take some time, especially since they weren't even physically in the office. I think until April, May, I think was when they started posting things that they were actually starting to get back into their new office with their new mocap, all that kind of stuff. So I got to imagine there's still a lot of work to be done moving this all over to Unreal 5, depending on even how far they were in the game in Unreal 4, which is up for speculation due to the pandemic. So I'm still thinking the end of 2023, probably spring of 2024. But let's say that they do show something here. I think number one, it's going to be a little bit of a flex by Phil and his team. Okay. I think that this is, they're getting to the point. Getting to the point now, like Kay Asante was talking about, as we've talked about here previously, they have so much content that in the works that there are things that we still have not heard about that are out there that are being made right now. Now, we've heard a ton. You can look at 2022 and 2023, just the roadmap that we know of right now, the potential roadmap. You're talking about 2 years of them getting to the point where they are meeting their goal of 1 AAA game per quarter. Okay. That is unheard of, but this is where we're at. This is our new reality now with these acquisitions. So they already have enough content out there, but they have things that they have not even talked about. Jez has spoken about this on the Xbox 2. Again, shout out to them, but Jez has said he has seen even more. Almost 2 weeks in a row, he came out and said, look, the things I'm seeing right now, the things that I'm hearing, the things that I know for a fact, and Jez doesn't speak about just speculation town. He speaks about things that he knows of. He's like, this is the greatest time to be an Xbox gamer ever. He goes, I've never been more excited in my life. This is incredible. And this is stuff that we have not currently heard of. So from my perspective, this is a flex by, if this does show up, this is just a straight up flex, number one. To say, hey, we've got so much coming out. Guess what? We're going to give you a little taste of Hellblade. We gave you a little taste, but that was more, kind of teaser trailer, kind of little deal. And people were questioning whether or not that was realistic and whether or not that could actually be done in game. So now here's what we're going to do. Our team is back in their brand new office. They're getting down to work, but they've already been able to put this together under Unreal 5. We got a little glimpse of actual gameplay, so you can kind of get an idea of what to expect when this game comes out. And I think that's where that comes into play. And I think that it's just a reminder, a tease, a reminder of what's coming in the future. What you're buying into when you get into this ecosystem and what the future may hold. This is just one team. And this is, like you guys were talking about, this is a current gen only game. So they're going to give you a little tease, that splash effect of what people have been wanting to see out of their new console, because we still have so much cross-gen stuff right now. We're not seeing full potential. And I think this could give us a glimpse at what that full potential could come from a quality studio, one of the top quality studios out there in Ninja Theory. And number two, I think it's a little fan service, right? I think it's a little nod to the fans for being so patient, for the pandemic happening, for, everything that's gone on. Just to kind of say thank you. Hey, guess what? Ninja Theory is hard at work. We know you guys are super excited for Hellblade 2. So are we. So we're going to give you guys something that we would be out of the ordinary, because Phil's talked about it now, right? Phil's just said first, he doesn't want to do CGI, doesn't want to do trailer. He wants to do trailer, then gameplay, then full blowout, then release, right? He's talked about that. So he's kind of laid that out. He doesn't, he's heard the rumblings from the community, and he doesn't want to do that whole thing where they do, CGI trailer or whatever the case may be, and then do another one and then eventually show gameplay. He doesn't want to do that anymore. He understands it frustrates people. So I think this one might just be a little nod to the fans to say, no, don't worry. Don't worry. We're really excited. We know you guys are. You guys have been extremely patient through all this whole dang pandemic. It's affected all of us dramatically. So here's a little taste of Hellblade 2 and what you guys can expect coming down the road. Don't worry. They're still hard at work, and this is going to happen. And I think that might be a little, that might be part of it as well, if this comes to fruition. I really think we're going to see Avowed 100%. I think we do get a taste of Avowed at this event. I think they were ready to rock and roll with Avowed at E3, and they bumped it. So I think that's going to be exciting as well. But this Hellblade thing, it's going to be impressive. Whatever they're going to show, it's going to be impressive. Like, I know Kay Asante, has some reservations, and I understand those reservations. I just think we have to get used to the idea that this new Xbox is different. Yes, can they still step on their own toes? Yes, we've seen it. The whole gold increase in price, we've seen that move, but more often than not now, it used to be like a 50-50 chance. more often than not now they're hitting it right. And I think if they do show this is going to be a hit. And I think it's going to be one of those moves where Phil is just sitting back and smiling at his desk, lighting up a cigar if he smokes. And I think that he's going to be going, yeah, you guys just wait. You have no idea what we got coming down the road over the next 4 or 5 years. This is just a little sample for you guys. I think that's where we're at with this.
All right. No, I agree. And that's a great breakdown. And it's interesting that you brought up a couple points. And I want to throw something to K Asante real quick before we get to Centurion and wrap the show up here. You guys have been amazing, by the way, chat. Shout out to Gerald, Nix, everybody hanging out, Zinc, everybody, shown to Mod of the Year. Everybody, appreciate you guys so much. But I want to bring something up to specifically you, Asante, just about and he brought it up so eloquently about the idea that people are going to have to get comfortable with Xbox competing on the same level as Sony. I don't think, and that's a real thing, and people don't talk about that, Asante. People are not comfortable with that idea.
True, very true.
And they don't. People don't want to talk about it. We talk about the console war and about throwing stones across, but it's the idea that there's a group of people that aren't comfortable with these two companies competing at the same or being looked at the same level from a quality, just from a eye to eye.
Completely agree. Yeah,
so I don't know where you're at on that, but
no, I couldn't have put it better myself. We have similar debates on my shows and the places that we podcast all the time as well. It seems like and it's a matter of human nature, right? You've stuck with this platform for so long that now they have become gaming for you, right? PlayStation equals gaming for people, right? You know, the those that don't know, your parents will go get off the PlayStation. You may be playing an Xbox, right? PlayStation is gaming for a lot of individuals. So because that has been the narrative and that has been basically what we have known for as long as we have known it, and many journalists,
it's conditioning,
exactly, indoctrination I like to call it.
Yeah, that too.
You know, from jump, it's been like that. So it's understandable that when something new comes in, and not only to play the same game, but then change that game, right? They played the whole big. I call what Sony does big fish, small pond. They've been playing that game with Sony for a while now, and then they realized they couldn't win.
Scary as well,
exactly, because that changes the game for them. There's no big fish, small pond. They went to the ocean, said, "Y'all can have your little small pond. We're going to the ocean," you know, and we have a different product for that. But it makes absolute sense that some people would be a little offended and threatened by it because it basically challenges the norm, you know. And I for one, am there for it. You know what I mean? Like I'm there for it. I think it's going to be exciting to see because whether they succeed or they fail, they're pushing each other. And me as a dude who loves games, I'll get that from wherever they'll do it because they'll be pushing each other to outdo each other, and in doing so, provide us more of that benefit that we crave. Right? The really good points that Pong has made about how they're trying to diversify their offerings for Game Pass, whereas PlayStation will also potentially. When they at some point inevitably bring out their competitor, they'll also offer something interesting to diversify themselves, and that all equals me possibly playing less for awesome games. So, you know, or getting different features that I didn't know I wanted. So for me, hey, all the fighting in the world, do it. I just want them to fight, whereas we all benefit rather than us fighting and them looking at the consumers like, calm down, people. You know what I'm saying?
And I just want to echo one sentiment before we get to Centurion here. Shout out to Invader. Shout out to I think Gabe O just dropped in here. Appreciate you guys watching live, man. Thank you guys for the support. Hit the like button, subscribe if you have not. I've seen some new names in here today, so hopefully you guys are enjoying the show. I didn't put on a tuxedo today, so you got to excuse me, but appreciate you guys come watching this. But I want to make sure I point something out too that you said is that just that whole idea of change, and I've always said one thing: if you there's one way to win the game every single time is be the only person that know the rules to the game. Correct? That's the only way to guarantee you win every single time. I make the rules up, therefore I win all the time. But when you like something like Game Pass, that's a new game. What is that? We've never seen. I don't know what that game looks like. So I do think we want to highlight that if you're not winning in one way, there's always other ways to do different things. You know, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So it's cool to see Xbox be agile, right? And Sante, that's kind of not normal for Xbox or even Microsoft. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Microsoft, they're a very rigid company, and it's
big
nice to see them
yacht-sized company.
agile.
Turning things is
Yeah.
very difficult, you know.
Yeah.
So what they're doing here, very good point. What they're doing is very unique, you know. And again, people get threatened by that because, you know, oh, not only are they bringing out a subscription service that no one's used to, they're also bringing a console that has 2 different SKUs, 2 different GPU levels. So that questions, you know, a lot of questions there. Oh, you don't want to play the next gen? Well, it's all right. Stay on your old gen. We'll let you use cloud gaming to continue playing new games on your old games. You don't want to do that? We'll even have just a browser. Go get a Chromebook. You know, there's just so many options there, and people are just like, you know, hey, I for one go, wow, this is absolutely fantastic. This is amazing. I was talking to some people on the show today. With that release of that browser feature, now you can do the strangest, weirdest stuff, like play all these other platforms on Xbox, right? They don't care. That's the world they're introducing, you know. And unfortunately, there are some within the community that go, oh my God, it has to be this way because that's how it always has been. And when my preferred plastic says so, then that means it's right. And if my preferred plastic doesn't say so, then oh, it's wrong, you know. And it's human nature, but I'm pretty confident that as we're going along and we see 30 million subscribers here, we see lots of really cool games coming out, we see lots of really interesting, innovative things. At some point, your wallet will hurt and you'll just suck it up and go get some. And then you'll be happy you did, you know, and then we'll all move on. You know, as long as the fighting stays with them, the competition stays with them and not with us. Oh, that's where it should be, I think.
Oh, absolutely, and I 100% agree. Shout out to some Stanley popping in here. What's up, Mav? It's fun speculation.
Mav's in the house. Hey,
yeah, Mav hanging
Mav.
out. We were just talking about you, man. So, speak of the devil, but appreciate you, man. You guys always hanging out. Once again, hit the like button on your way in. If you support and like what we're doing here, subscribe. Pull up a seat. We appreciate you guys. Not gonna be here for too much longer, but let's go ahead and get to Centurion to wrap the show up, man. Want to make sure we get to you, brother. Just in regards to the final topic about Hellblade 2 possibly showing up at the VGAs. Where are you at on that? Based on and you're. It's funny because you're always you're more technical out of the 4 of us that are here that are normal on the show, and you know you seem to be more in tune with that kind of stuff as far as like the technical aspects. But I know as far as what we seen last was just not CGI, but it was just essentially in engine. It wasn't really anything, and they still were shooting mocap. So where you at like on this jump? Like, did they just make a jump in production, or were they always this far along, or like what does that news do for you? What does that change?
Beforehand, to go back to what Asante was talking about how what you were also talking about, when you are trying to get ahead and you basically kind of hit a roadblock on trying to get ahead, like Microsoft with Sony, and they flip the script with Gamepass, you know, everybody's all up in arms. Oh my God, they changed the game. What about Fortnite? Technically the first guys to come out and say, hey, multiplayer is free to play. And all of a sudden everybody was like, well, wait a minute, you can do that? And it completely turned the multiplayer industry on its head with this concept of, hey, we'll let you play your game for free and we'll get it back in microtransactions. And they flipped the script and became pretty much the most household name multiplayer. I'm sorry, they built an empire based on the money that they got off of Fortnite. So you can't say flipping the script does not work. Going back to Ninja Theory, I was very impressed at what they showed at the 2019 VGAs. And nobody believed it could work, or they're totally dumbstruck by just how gorgeous it looked. But if we look at what Ninja Theory is doing with Project Mara, we see they're going way beyond motion capture. These guys are actually pushing technology when it comes to the creation of games by now involving LiDAR technology. For those who don't know what LiDAR is a laser that basically maps stuff very, very accurately. It's used on airplanes to map the globe. It's used in cave exploration and all sorts of other stuff to basically map environments. And this can even be done using to scan somebody into a computer.
Tesla uses that technology for their cars these days. A lot of Tesla LiDAR sensors. Yeah.
Yes. And that's where Let's just put it on a podcast recently. Don't care who said it because I didn't even take the time to get the guy's name. But in his little clip, he put out that Ninja Theory brings no culture to Xbox. They couldn't be further from the truth. Ninja Theory brings a lot of culture to the Xbox ecosystem.
How do you measure that anyway?
I do not know how he got that. There is no. He even included Double Fine in his statement. He said, "I can see why you bought Bethesda, but the Double Fine and what's their name, Ninja Theory, bring no culture to the Microsoft brand." Right. We're talking about two developers that love to push the boundaries on subjects when it comes to mental problems with people, what they got going on in their head. And when we talk about Ninja Theory and what they did with Hellblade, they did that beautifully. I mean, everybody says if you want to feel Hellblade, play that with some headphones on and it will change your life. And I'm just excited for what they're going to do with Hellblade 2. It's going to look gorgeous. They are pushing the boundaries of what it comes to game design, especially if you look at what they're doing with Project Mara. And you can't say that they're not using that same technology and that same game development in creating Hellblade 2. I am totally in agreement that we are going to see a very beautiful game that is going to definitely push the boundaries, and they could be further ahead than we know because maybe the involvement of this technology has maybe sped things up a little bit when it comes to how you create these animations, get environments, and all the other good stuff that creates a game. And I just feel that Ninja Theory has created some really realistic looking stuff. I mean, when you look at what comes out of Project Mara, they have been able to recreate an entire apartment down to like a millimeter level, that there is reflections. You could see the texture in the wood grain. It just doesn't look like a piece of plastic with a piece of vinyl on it. You can actually see the dips and valleys in the wood grain and the leather on the seats. It is absolutely amazing.
No, absolutely, and the tech they're working with over there is insane. I'm super hyped, and I think all of us here are super hyped for Hellblade 2. I want to get to these super chats real quick because I do appreciate the other people that support in other ways as well. So shout out the 199 super chat from looks like Gabe Zero, or Gabe O. I'm sorry. So 199 super chat. Thank you, brother, for the support, as well as shout out to Victor Alstein for the $5 super chat. He says support, great show as always, and respect to the panel. Respect to you, Vic. Thank you for always hanging up, showing out, man. And once again, if you're new here, I am seeing some new faces and names. Subscribe to the channel if you like what we're doing. Like the video as well. Got a ton of content, so go back in the archives. You got 5 years worth of podcasts to listen to. So appreciate you guys. But yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show with, guys. It was another amazing show. You guys are always super awesome. The show was fantastic. Chat was lit. Man, I hope you guys had a great time. We did here. I'm sure I can, talk for the entire panel about that. But let's go ahead and just get into our individual stuff here. But we're going to start with Kay Asante, man. I hope you enjoyed yourself, bro. We enjoyed having you here. The chat loved you. I hope you had a ball, man. Your family now, once you're on here once, that open invitation is always there, brother. But let everybody know where they can find you at, where they can keep up with you. If they want to follow you on, other projects you have going and other things you got going, where they can find you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been such a blast being here with you guys. As I said at the top, this is a real treat for me because you guys usually Saturday night, I'm usually sitting here. I got a controller in my hand. I got the Xbox wireless controller, the Xbox wireless headset on, and I have my tablet, which is playing your podcast while I'm playing a game at the same time. Awesome, so that's usually my Saturday night. And now I'm here in getting to podcast with you gentlemen. So it's been more than fun. It's been great. I've highly enjoyed it. Pong Soul, the man follows me everywhere I go.
Oh my goodness. Whether in the chat, you don't believe how many guests we've actually had on that said that. It's creepy as hell. At this point, me and Pong,
they're stalking me. Excuse me. We've established this, BTK. It started with Neo, and now we're here with
this consists every week, Pong. It's been like 5 weeks.
The man's got the greatest take, so he's invited everywhere. He is everywhere because he needs to be everywhere.
Yeah, Pong is awesome.
That good word. Awesome. And Fuzzy, it's always great chatting with you. Centurion, I've been watching your stuff for a while as well, good sir. And I really appreciate all your stuff. So yeah, it's been a great time for me being here, getting to hang out with you fine fellas. So you can find me on Twitter, TK0ASANTE. Please subscribe. Follow me. I will follow you back. I do a couple of shows I'm on PTG Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick. If you're a fan of the Xbox and the community, you've most likely seen it. We do that on Mondays, so you can check that out. Myself and the Everborn Saga, we do On the Reel on Thursdays. That is usually at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you follow us on Twitter, when we go live, you see that. That's all about the movies, TV shows, pop culture. We always have a lot of fun. We keep the slander levels high on that one. And then on Saturdays, we do the Gaming Circle podcast, which we actually did this morning. This morning we had K Mega on here, which another one of the the stalwarts of the community, which I really appreciated. He was able to jump on and join us as well. And we do the Gaming Circle usually at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, depending on if we have guests or not. So we've been having a lot of fun, a lot of community. The community's jumping in on our chats. I see a lot of familiar faces. Shout out to Gerald Mack and a few others who always show up in our chats to support us as well. Please find me, support, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. You know, as you can expect from the Shop Podcast, a lot of intelligent conversations. We're trying to do the same. So if you like this kind of content, you know, we appreciate you checking us out. And once again, gentlemen, I really appreciate you guys asking me to be on here. And I hope you guys will do the same and join us on our podcast from time to time. I will definitely send those invites.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Once again, we appreciate you for taking the time out, hanging out with us on Saturday is always kind of a odd day because, people work during the week. So thank you for spending a little time with us here, blessing us just with the information, with your knowledge, and just once again, people, awesome gamer. Shout out to Everborn as well. They got a great thing going with the Gaming Circle podcast, the In the Real podcast. They got a lot, super informative, super intelligent, awesome guys. Please go follow and support everything they do if you're a fan of the show. Once again, Asante, awesome, brother. Not a problem, bro. You're always welcome here, man. So just be on the lookout for the next random DM for me request.
Oh, anytime, man. Anytime you send out the bat signal, I'll be there. It's all
appreciate
good.
You, yes. Bro. Thank you so much, man. But let's go ahead and get to my compadres here. Centurion, man. Appreciate you, bro. Always bringing the energy every week. Let people know where they can catch you at, bro.
Well, first off, let me thank our guest for coming out tonight. It really warms my heart anytime I hear anybody enjoys my content. That means the world to me, man. For those interested in finding me, you can find me at Centurion1307 on YouTube, Xbox Live, and of course, Twitter. You can also find me here every Saturday night with these amazing gentlemen, my second family, my brothers from another mother, right here on the Shop Podcast. And you'll also find me with the other part of my second family over on Sunday night on the TXR Podcast. And if I also can just put it out there real quick, just recently, a few days ago, I wrote a very lengthy article for lordsofgaming.net revolving around Atomic Heart and the story, the development, and the controversies involved there within. So definitely head over there to check that out. Definitely worth a read if you're interested in Atomic Heart. I love Cognito, and I am very humbled and honored at the same time that he would allow me to put that on lordsofgaming.net. So shout out to him as well.
Awesome, bro. And definitely please go show your support. A great writer, as far as that goes, multi-talented dude. So does YouTube videos, super informative, great writer. Please go check that out. Once again, guys, his socials are down in the description. Please go support him as well. Thank you guys so much.
How did you get my social security? I'm joking.
Well, you
guys won't be able to do much with it. I'm just warning you.
All right, well, let's throw this over to Pong, man. Pong Harvey, man, Mr. 7 days a week. 7 days a week, man. How you been? Let everybody know where they can find you at if they don't already know, bro.
I wish it was 7 days a week. If anybody wants to fund me so I can do a show 7 days a week, I will do it. So hit me up in the DMs. Awesome. Yes, it would be the greatest thing. I'll go 4 hours. I'll go 6 hours. I don't care. I'll do it. Just hit me up in DMs. They're always open. Anyways.
We need that African prince to show with that
money. He's still sending me emails saying I just got to send him my bank information. God damn it. All right. Anyways, everybody knows great show. Hey, K Asante, 2 nights in a row. Honored, brother. Honored. Love your work. Love your thoughts. Obviously, amazing stuff. And to have it 2 nights in a row is just fantastic. So, brothers, PTK, Centurion, Fuzzy, phenomenal. As always, Saturday nights, you guys know it. I say it every week, but this is my favorite way to end a Saturday night. I didn't even think about Halo once, which is crazy. So that is amazing in itself. But no, this is always my favorite place to be. Love being here. Chat. You guys are outrageous. Great discussions in there coming out each and every week, supporting us. I know a lot of you are probably playing Big Team Battle right now with us in the background.
We're diving in.
Hey, look, yeah, absolutely. You know what? You guys still come here. You still listen to us, just talk games, which is what we all love. So thank you for being here. Love you all. Respect to all of you. Again, we can't be here without you. So you guys know how to find me. Pong Soul, Xbox, Twitter. Follow me. I'll follow you back. No problems whatsoever. Tuesdays, it starts. It's not 7 days a week, but Tuesdays it does start over on Double Barrel Gaming, Xbox Factor Podcast, Mr. Boomstick. You know him, just like Kay Asante said. Come check us out there. Look, he just did some acquiring of his own, and our panel is stacked on Tuesdays now. So we've got Mr. Boomstick. We got Zemi Games, of course, two of the OGs. We got myself on there. Now we have the one, the only Box-a-Bear, Boxenberger. That's right. Archimedes is going to be on Tuesdays with us as well. Then we've got 3-Bit coming back. Again, man of the industry, knows his stuff. One of the most talented young men I have ever met in my entire life. Fantastic to have him back. And now Mav. Fun Speculation is basically a full-timer there as well. So come check us out Tuesdays. Xbox Factor Podcast. Going to be a great show this week. 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Friday nights, Xbox Ultimate. You know the drill. Again, we just had Kay Asante on last night along with Dealer. Great show. Mav has been knocking it out of the park with the guests that have been coming on. It has been one Hall of Fame show after another. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Fun Speculation, aka Mav, his amazing wife Caitlin, the rest of the Magnificent Seven. We have some people on vacation, people busy. That happens, real life happens, but we still have just a fantastic show. Kay Asante last night. I don't think I've laughed that much on a show in a long time, man. It was awesome. So come check us out there. Saturday mornings, you know the drill. Living Split Screen. My brother from another, Steel Rain, and I are coming at you live, raw and uncut. This morning, it was off the charts. We're hyped from the beginning. We had no idea what we were going to talk about. People don't believe us, but we don't plan anything. This is the complete 100% opposite of Mr. Boomstick. We don't plan anything. We just come an hour before the show and discuss and say, hey, you want to talk about this? Okay, cool. And then we just roll into it and we see what happens. We still had a 3-hour of the show this morning. We didn't get to 75% of the topics we were going to talk about. So come check me and my brother Steel Rain out on Living Split Screen, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, 3 p.m. UK time, every single Saturday morning. Set those alarms, and then I'll be back here next week with the Shop Podcast, of course, on Saturday nights. Listen, it's the golden age of gaming. I am going to make you guys dream of this. It's the golden age of gaming. Trust me, it is. This is the best time ever to be a gamer. There are so many exciting things that happen. It's not even funny anymore. Get out there, play what you love what you play, and I'll talk to you all real soon.
Awesome. Shout out to you, man, as well. Once again, you guys can find him on multiple different shows that he just broke down for you. So please go do that, man. That's the battery of the podcast right there, man. Appreciate you, Pong, every single week. Last but not least, this will be smooth things down. Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. Everybody know what you got cooking up, man.
Well, I want to thank Kay Asante for appearing with us today. It was awesome chatting with you. Usually in the chat in a lot of your shows, and it was good to have you on here and hear your thoughts on a lot of the stuff in the industry. Can't wait to have you back on here as well. Mm-hmm. It's always awesome being on here with you, Blam, Pong, and Centurion. You're pretty much my second family, and looking forward to probably hitting Halo up right after this. So I'm going to be ready. I think I'm going to be able to put Insurgency on pause. I want to thank the chat. Always on fire. Always good to see new faces, as well as the usual people in here just chatting it up with us. It's always awesome just being able to talk our favorite hobby with you guys. As for me, you can find me here every Saturday at pretty much, 6 p.m. Arizona time, 9 p.m. Eastern. That will change in November to 8 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, I always love being here, talking games, and being here with my second family. As far as other shows I'll be guesting on, you can find me on Mondays at 12 p.m. Eastern time with Mav Tidbits, where we go over what's hitting that week in gaming. pretty much give you the rundown of all the games you may have, been looking forward to, and some that you may have missed, and giving you a brief summary of them, so that way, if you're looking for something to play, which, man, we got so much to play with Game Pass and other stuff coming out, it's a good way to kind of go through and see what you may have missed, and find your next new game. And then on Saturday, which will be before the Shop podcast starting next week, I'll be on 6 p.m. Eastern time, I believe, or 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be doing the FSP, the Fun Speculation podcast, with Mav, Phasma, and Kev, I'm sorry, for Key, talking about pretty much everything in gaming on all the platforms, whether it be Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, or even PC. So you can catch us there and just go over any of the news and games and stuff that we've been enjoying for the past week or so. But always awesome being here. Love you guys. Great being here, and thank you so much for having me on.
Awesome. And last but not least, your boy PTK Blam to wrap things up here. Hit me up everywhere on Twitter. All of that information is down in the description below if you want to figure out what's going on with just me in general in the show. Once again, thank you guys for the continued support every single week. All the likes, everyone stopping by, showing love. Leave comments. I love reading comments after the show, so please leave those. Any ideas, my DMs are always open on Twitter as well. But same place, same time next week. We got another amazing guest lined up for the rest of the month, I believe, if I have to check my calendar, but I will make sure you guys are aware of that early next week. So be on the lookout for that. But you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Go play some Halo, kick back, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace out.